The Panama Canal, a marvel of engineering. For over a century it has served as a vital artery of global trade. Ships laden with goods from around the world traverse its locks. They connect the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, cutting down travel times and facilitating commerce. The canal's impact on global trade is undeniable, shaping economies and influencing nations. Today, the Panama Canal continues to be a vital link in the global supply chain. The Panama Canal is facing an unprecedented crisis, a shortage of water. The canal relies on a delicate balance of rainfall and freshwater reserves to operate its intricate lock system. However, climate change is disrupting this balance, leading to prolonged periods of drought and reduced water levels in the artificial lakes that feed the canal. The implications of this water crisis are dire. Ships are already facing delays and restrictions as the Panama Canal Authority grapples with the shrinking water supply. The situation is forcing shipping companies to make difficult choices, including carrying less cargo or taking longer routes around the tip of South America. These disruptions are adding costs to the global supply chain and threatening to destabilize international trade. The water crisis also highlights the vulnerability of critical infrastructure to the impacts of climate change. As extreme weather events become more frequent and severe, the Panama Canal's reliability is increasingly called into question. This uncertainty is prompting businesses and governments to explore alternative routes and modes of transportation, casting a shadow over the canal's long-term future. Amidst the growing concerns over the Panama Canal's vulnerability, Mexico is positioning itself as a potential alternative. The country is investing heavily in the Interoceanic Corridor, a multi-billion-dollar project aimed at modernizing and expanding its existing rail network across the Isthmus of Tehuantepec. This ambitious project seeks to create a more efficient and reliable route for goods moving between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. By upgrading rail lines, expanding port facilities, and streamlining customs procedures, Mexico hopes to attract a significant portion of the cargo traffic currently passing through the Panama Canal. The Interoceanic Corridor's success hinges on its ability to offer a faster, cheaper, and more sustainable alternative to the Panama Canal. The idea of a trans-isthmus route across Mexico is not new. In the 19th century, as the United States embarked on its ambitious Panama Canal project, Mexico was already laying the groundwork for its own transcontinental railroad. This ambitious undertaking was driven by a desire to connect the country's Atlantic and Pacific coasts, fostering economic development and national unity. The Tehuantepec Railway, as it was known, faced numerous challenges during its construction, from rugged terrain to political instability. Despite these obstacles, the railroad was completed in 1907, marking a significant achievement in Mexican engineering. While the Tehuantepec Railway never achieved the same level of global prominence as the Panama Canal, it did facilitate trade and transportation within Mexico and played a role in the country's economic development. A modern vision breathing new life into the corridor, Mexico's current investment in the Interoceanic Corridor represents a renewed effort to capitalize on the strategic importance of the Isthmus of Tehuantepec. The project involves a comprehensive modernization of the existing rail infrastructure, including the upgrading of tracks, signaling systems, and rolling stock. The goal is to significantly increase the speed and capacity of the railway, allowing it to handle larger volumes of cargo more efficiently. In addition to rail upgrades, the Interoceanic Corridor project also encompasses the expansion and modernization of port facilities on both the Atlantic and Pacific coasts. These improvements are designed to accommodate larger vessels and handle the anticipated increase in cargo traffic. Streamlining customs and border procedures is another key aspect of the project, with the aim of reducing transit times and making the corridor more attractive to shipping companies. Competition or cooperation? The future of two canals. The emergence of Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor raises questions about the future relationship between this ambitious project and the Panama Canal. Will they become fierce competitors, vying for the same cargo traffic? Or could they potentially complement each other, offering shippers a range of options to suit their needs? The answer likely lies in a combination of competition and cooperation. The Interoceanic Corridor has the potential to attract some of the cargo traffic currently passing through the Panama Canal, particularly for goods destined for North America. Its shorter transit times and potentially lower costs could prove attractive to shippers looking for alternative routes. However, the Panama Canal is also undergoing its own modernization and expansion efforts, aiming to maintain its competitiveness and accommodate larger vessels. Ultimately, the success of both the Panama Canal and the Interoceanic Corridor will depend on their ability to adapt to the evolving demands of global trade. Factors such as shipping costs, transit times, reliability, and environmental sustainability will all play a role in determining which route shippers choose. China's shadow geopolitics and the future of trade. As Mexico positions itself as a key player in global trade routes, the geopolitical landscape adds another layer of complexity to the equation. China's growing economic influence, particularly in Latin America, is impossible to ignore. China has invested heavily in infrastructure projects in the region, including ports and railroads as part of its Belt and Road Initiative. China's interest in the Panama Canal is well documented. Chinese companies already manage several of the canal's ports and have expressed interest in financing further expansion projects. This growing Chinese influence in Panama has raised concerns in the United States, which has historically viewed the canal as a strategic asset. The potential for the Interoceanic Corridor to provide an alternative route for goods, one less influenced by Chinese interests, could have geopolitical implications. The future of global trade routes. The future of global trade routes is in flux. The Panama Canal, once the undisputed king of interoceanic transit, is facing challenges that threaten its dominance. Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor, with its ambitious goals and strategic location, presents a compelling alternative. The outcome of this evolving landscape will shape the flow of goods, influence economic development, and impact geopolitical relationships for decades to come. The choices made today, by governments, businesses, and consumers, will determine the course of global trade and the interconnectedness of our world.